Togashi has done it again. With chapter 408, Morena has skyrocketed to the top of my list of must-watch antagonists this arc, if we can even call her one at this point. The Succession War is already packed with layered characters and complex schemes, but now with this chapter, Togashi's completely shifted how we believe the Succession War might play out, what alliances we have, and what deaths are in store for us. Honestly, come at me if I'm wrong, but I'd even argue that her backstory might be the darkest that we've seen in the entire series. And yes, I'm including Kurapika, Crollo, and even Gyro in that list. Hot take, maybe, but hear me out on that. Anyways though, today I'm going to be diving into why Morena might just be Togashi's take on Johan Liebert from Monster and Eren Yeager from Attack on Titan. When I first heard her backstory this chapter, I immediately started thinking about these two and how similar they actually all are. And so I thought this would be a great video to share my thoughts with you guys. If you enjoy videos like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more Hunter x Hunter content, because I'm definitely going to be coming out with a lot more of these. Thinking about maybe a Hisoka vs Crollo part 2 video, so yeah, stay tuned. Anyways, let's break this down. Okay, so making this take, let's start off with their origins. Both Morena and Johan were both products of systems that are inherently designed to strip away their victims' humanity. Johan's story from Monster is infamous. He was an orphan in Kinderheim 511, a facility basically designed to emotionally and psychologically break orphans to create perfect tools of war. His trauma thus comes from being treated as an object, something disposable, and so it wasn't a surprise to us as the audience when we saw just how much Johan viewed other humans as simply a plaything to manipulate and destroy. Now Morena's backstory might be even worse. She was born into the horrors of Kakin's institutionalized abuse, orphaned and branded as meat during the Royal Entourage's infamous festivals, which were basically just grape on a mass scale. I'll use that word for YouTube. And for 20 years, she was trafficked by the Haley Mafia, completely dehumanized and once again treated as an object for the royals' entertainment. But like Johan, she'd later take this trauma and channel it into a destructive philosophy of her own. Now, in terms of escaping their oppressive systems, both Johan and Morena didn't just survive, they outsmarted their systems and used their freedom as a launching pad for their future goals. Johan got into everyone's head in Kinderheim 511, orphans and staff alike, to orchestrate a bloodbath at the facility. As a master manipulator, he pitted individuals against each other by exploiting their insecurities until the entire place devolved into chaos, and he was able to slip away unnoticed. This solidified his nihilistic philosophy that humans are capable of self-destruction with just the right nudge. Morena's escape was no less calculated. While we don't have all the information, what we do know is that she didn't just flee. She stole the identity of a royal illegitimate child, the real Morena Prudo. And since only royal illegitimate children are allowed to become mafia bosses, ironically, Kakin's corrupt laws, such as no one being allowed to question the validity of a royal's blood lineage unless they want the death penalty, that worked beautifully in her favor, with no one finding out that she was actually quote-unquote meat. As such, she was able to completely overtake the Haley as the new boss and begin her plans for Kakin's destruction from within. This brings us to one of the most terrifying traits that Johan and Morena share, their ability to inspire others to commit murder for their sake. Johan's charisma is one of his most defining traits as a character. He doesn't just convince people to kill. We've seen that his biggest tactic is making them believe it's bound to happen, basically twisting their weaknesses and fears into tools of manipulation. And for those that have seen the show, remember when he's literally convinced a man to commit suicide by merely suggesting the inevitability of death in general? Yeah, that's the level of psychological control that Johan yields. And what's even scarier is that he often never needs to dirty his own hands. Morena's approach is more overt, but it's no less horrifying. Her Nen ability Contagion literally gamifies murder. And by granting her followers more power with each kill, murder becomes this transactional act for the entire Haley. The genius of her ability is more so in how it cements devotion to Morena's goals in an almost cult-like fashion. Followers aren't just killing for her, they're killing for themselves, in a way binding their fates to Morena's in this deadly cycle that just goes on and on and on. Now, number 4, if there's one thing Morena and Eren Yeager have in common, it's that they both believe that peaceful solutions against their oppressors is simply an illusion. Eren's entire journey in Season 4 of Attack on Titan is all about this. He believed that no matter what parody did, Marley would never leave Eldians alone, and so he decided the only answer was the rumbling to eradicate all Marleyans, basically a genocidal solution to a problem that he couldn't fix peacefully and didn't want to fix peacefully either. Morena takes a very similar stance. She sees Cockin's new democracy as a sham, a facade for a system that hasn't really changed and will never change. Even though Cockin claims to have reformed in modern times, atrocities like the grape festivals still happen to this day, the latest one happening 2 years ago, as Morena states. And the royals still have utmost power in the entire nation. For Morena, the system is beyond saving, and violence is the only way forward. Finally, both Morena and Eren refuse to limit their rebellion to just their immediate oppressors. In fact, they see the entire world as fundamentally broken and complicit in the systems that harmed them personally. Eren views Marley as just one part of a global system designed to exterminate Eldians. He believes that as long as the rest of the world exists, his people will never be safe. And this drives him to extend the rumbling to the entire world to ensure that no one is left to threaten his people. Similarly, Morena's hatred for Cockin evolves into a rejection of the entire world. She sees Cockin's atrocities as symptoms of a larger and irredeemable system. Her trauma leads her to conclude that the world itself is the problem, and so doesn't deserve to exist. Both of their goals aren't revenge, it's complete and utter annihilation. So there you go. To conclude, Chapter 408 completely flipped my view of Morena. Before this, I wasn't really that interested in the mafia side of the succession war, to be honest. But now, I'm all in and totally excited for how the future chapters intertwine all of this latest revelation with Krollo, Saradnik, and even Kurapika. And honestly, can we even call this the Succession War arc anymore? I feel like at this point, I think the Cockin arc is just way more of a fitting name, because everything we've seen has just evolved into something much deeper than just a succession war, and rather it's something that reveals the very roots of Cockin's darkness as a nation. So I feel like that name is a lot more fitting, to be honest. But what do you think? Is Morena the most intriguing villain of this entire arc so far? And are you guys Team Morena now after this chapter? Let me know also, did I miss any connections to other characters or even other stories in general? Let me know in the comments. This is my first video, so if you guys enjoyed it, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because I've got a lot more coming up for y'all. Oh, and by the way, if you're also into the whole frenzy and hype of leaks like I am, you should totally check out my Twitter at wastesuit_DRG. I usually post translations every Wednesday or Thursday once I get those early raw pages. So if you're super eager like me while still supporting the official release, of course, definitely give me a follow there too. I also time to time post Hunter x Hunter news on my Twitter, and they're more concise chapter analysis topics over there as well. Anyways, until next time, subscribe if you guys enjoyed and stay tuned for more. Waste You'd out.